James Gunn celebrated an anniversary, but it had to do with three DC characters. The director revealed an unusual link between Penguin and Diana. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. After repeated letdowns at the box office and the disappointment of fans due to the subpar performance of past DC movies, James Gunn took over the helm. The filmmaker's decision to reboot the entire DC universe and start with a clean slate has received mixed reactions from fans. In a recent social media post, the movie 43 director reminded fans of the anniversary of the debut of three popular DC characters. Gunn's post included the elusive Wonder Woman, the Green Lantern John Stewart, and the Penguin, noticing one common feature between the odd trio. The filmmaker stated that all three characters had debuted on the same day, marking it as their anniversary. HBO's The Penguin gained immense popularity, though it started as a spin-off of the 2022 The Batman movie. Colin Farrell's performance as the titular villain, along with the dark and gritty setting, won over DC fans who declared it as one of the best TV series. Ranking at a high score of 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, the show soon gained prominence and climbed the ladders of success rapidly. Recognizing its contribution to the franchise, filmmaker James Gunn posted an uplifting announcement on his social media. The Guardians of the Galaxy director mentioned that on October 21st, three of the most iconic and contrasting DC characters debuted. The post included the animated version of not just the Penguin, but also John Stewart, aka Green Lantern and Wonder Woman. Gunn proudly celebrated the Lucky Trio's anniversary and noted that though they didn't have a lot in common, their appearance changed things for the franchise. Farrell took the mantle of Gotham's notorious antagonist in Matt Reeves' film, as well as the TV show. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Aaron Pierre was cast to portray the role of the DC superhero in the much-anticipated series, Lanterns. This show also marks the first important TV project by the studio heads Gunn and Peter Safran and is expected to be launched in 2026. The filmmaker's post unveiled the link of connection between DC's two most contrastingly different characters, Penguin and Wonder Woman. Previously, actresses like Halsey, Lucy Lawless, Leslie Bibb, and several others have portrayed the iconic Amazonian warrior on screen. Gal Gadot played the popular character for the first time in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and later reprised her role for the 2017 film Justice League. The actress's portrayal received a mixed response from fans and critics alike, with many fans asking for another actress for the reboot. With the Kristen Milioti star already receiving rave reviews and gaining massive popularity, it has truly become DC's ace card. The Suicide Squad director's future ventures with other famous characters from the franchise would set the tone for the fate of the DCU. As of now, the HBO series has been gaining steady momentum and remains unbeatable according to fans of the show. It is up to Gunn to replicate the same brilliance with his future Lanterns series and other upcoming projects. Prior to helming big-budget superhero flicks, James Gunn faced his biggest challenge in one indie superhero movie. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The MCU has a history of hiring relatively unknown directors for its movies, which seemingly reflects the studio's adamancy to control its filmmakers. But this wasn't the case with James Gunn, who was brought on board to helm a movie about Guardians of the Galaxy, which, like Gunn, was relatively unknown in the mainstream landscape. While the scale of the movie was miles above Gunn's indie superhero flick, Super, surprisingly, the director was much more comfortable filming the huge-budget Marvel movie. In contrast to the MCU's alleged controlling approach, James Gunn had total creative freedom under Kevin Feige's leadership from the get-go. Although this might have to do with the Guardians' relatively unknown status in the mainstream landscape, Gunn succeeded in transforming them into household names, thus kickstarting his dominance in the CBM scene. Moreover, the MCU didn't shy away from giving the film a massive budget of $170 million. Still, despite the huge scale of Guardians of the Galaxy, which was uncharted territory for the director up to that point, the challenge was relatively easier than that of Super, which he deemed harrowing for its short window via Collider. We had to do like 50 setups a day, so it was just a harrowing, tough experience. And this is difficult, but it's because it's over such a long period of time. But on a day-to-day basis, it's actually a lot more. Using the word easy is not the greatest thing, but yeah, it's easier because you do have more time for the setups, you have more time for planning. Considering the director has continued to deliver critical and commercial hits with his superhero flicks since then, it's safe to assume that the adequate window for production is responsible for his consistent track record. Under his regime, Gunn is giving writers an adequate window to come up with the best storyline, which isn't surprising given his stature as a writer-director. Moreover, instead of following Marvel's approach, Gunn has been adamant about prioritizing writers, who are set to be the cornerstone of the new DCU, as no project will move forward without a finished script via Collider. There's no set timeline for anything. The one thing that I've tried to make clear to people from the beginning, in the way that I hope we're different, is that everything in DC is going to be based on the writers. Given how he has continued to mold himself to different challenges throughout his career, whether it be Super, Guardians, or the Suicide Squad, one can't help but admire Gunn's perseverance. That had been a trend in some of its predecessors. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. There are some things that are going to set the DCU apart from the MCU that fans are pretty familiar with. To begin with, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was dealing with B-tier characters when it was forming the Avengers, and so it was important to show the origin stories of Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. However, when it comes to characters like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, the DC Universe can be forgiven for foregoing their origin stories altogether, given that they are so well known as characters that retreading them would essentially be an extended exercise in maid and butler dialogue. This is something that James Gunn, too, believes, given that he has decided to not go ahead with Batman's origin story as a film in the DCU. Even Christopher Nolan, with his Batman trilogy, decided to retread the origin story of the Bat of Gotham, which might not have been necessary, but it was still a great movie nonetheless. However, Gunn, like Reeves, seems to have a different idea about what the Batman film for the DCU needs to be. When James Gunn first announced Brave and the Bold, it was made clear to the audience that Batman's Robin would be Damian Wayne, which would mean that Batman's first film in the DCU would be far from an origin story. Having Damian Wayne as his Robin would require a lot of Batman's mythology to be in place, such as the League of Assassins and the slew of Robins that Bruce had before Damian. James Gunn's DCU, as is the case with Superman, will probably forego origin stories for popular characters, which would allow the studio to give the universe the Star Wars-esque vibe that it is going for, distinguishing it from the MCU further. While there are a lot of members of the Justice League that might not need an origin story, like Superman, Batman, The Flash, and Wonder Woman, it would not hurt audiences if characters like Martian Manhunter